รู้สึกตัวไว้
Be aware.
พูดง่ายนะรู้สึกตัว
It's easy to say be
ใน
aware,
โลกไม่ค่อยมีคนรู้สึกตัว
but
มี
in
แต่
the
คนหลง
world, there's not many people that
เลย
are
สู้
aware
กิ
of
เลสไม่ได้
themselves.
กิเลส
Most of them are lost.
ไม่เล่นงาน
That's
เรา
why
แต่เราหลง
they're
ไม่มี
lost
ส
to
ติ
the defilements. Every time we are lost, that's when the defilement can overcome us. Because when we don't have sati.
ชลบุรีนะมีข่าวดังอยู่เรื่อย
In Chonburi
ๆตอนนี้
province,
ก็มีแก๊ง
there's a lot of bad
ขับรถ
news.
ให้คนเขาปาดกัน
Recent news is
ให้ไป
about
ชนคันอื่นอะไรเงี้ย
the
ตอนนี้ก็มีแก๊ง
driving
เอาคนไป
gang
ฆ่า
that try to make you get into an accident. And there's another news, recent news about
ไม่มีความปลอ
a
ดภัย
serial
เท่าไหร่นะ
murder. See, life is not
รักษา
that
ตัวเอง
safe.
มีสติ
So we have to stay safe, be mindful.
ลืมไปวันนี้
Luangpu forgot today.
มีข่าวประชาสัมพันธ์หน่อยทีม
There is an announcement.
ตอนนี้ทางวัดเนี่ยเปลี่ยนบัญชีที่รับบริจาคนะเปลี่ยน
The temple has changed
ไม่ใช่ว่าบัญชีเก่า
the bank account
กันนะ
for the temple.
ไม่เกี่ยว
We don't have any problem,
คือระบบ
but
ธนาคารเก่าที่เคยใช้นะเขาปรับระบบ
the bank system has changed.
วันหนึ่งเนี่ยเขาจะแจ้งยอดให้เรารู้ครั้งเดียวจากที่เดิมนะใครโอนเงินมาเข้าบัญชีบาทหนึ่ง50 ตังค์อะไรมันก็จะแจ้ง
The last system, we would get
จะเช็คยอด
notification in every transfer, in every transaction. But now that
เผื่อมีปัญหา
all bank system has changed to give us the
เคยมีนะคน
accumulated transaction once a day.
แล้วมาหลุดเข้าบัญชีวัดไปมาขอเงินคืนแล้วก็ต้อง
There was an incident that one person claimed to make a mistake and
ค่าใช้จ่ายเขาก็เปลี่ยนระบบ
make a donation to the temple. So that person asked for the donation back. So the temple team had to check if that transaction really happened or not.
วันหนึ่ง
So to get one notification a day, it will be difficult to
ธนา
check.
คารใหม่
So the temple team decided to change the bank.
เพราะว่าเราเน้นความโปร่ง
So we
ใส
get more in detail of any transaction made.
อย่างการ
Every transactions have to be transparent.
จะแยกแยะ
Everything, every activity have to have transparency.
กับบัญชี
It can be checked all the time. There is a bank account for the temple. There is a separate account
ต้องมีเงิน
to make offering to the monks. Why do we have to have the bank account for the monks?
บวชที่เนี่ย
Like if you have your relative ordained here,
ถวายปัจจัยให้พระองค์นี้
the family really want to make offering to that monk.
แต่ระบบพอเราที่เนี่ยพระไม่ได้รับเงินโดยตรงนะต้องผ่านไวยาวัจกร
But in the monk system, the monk never see the money.
ที่
That is the system following the Buddha's teaching.
บัญชีพระ
So they
บัญ
separate
ชีวัดก็อันหนึ่ง
the account for the monks and another account for the temple.
นี่ทำไมมีบัญชีโบสถ์ตอนนี้กลายเป็นบัญชีเจดีย์
Why is there another
เราจะฝังรูปนิมิต
temple
ที่
for
30 สิงหา ก็
for the
ทำโบสถ์เสร็จ
stupa? Because the temple hall is finished. Now is a
ต่อไป
stupa.
การทำเจดีย์นะ
So next,
ส่วนใหญ่ก็ต้อง
because
มีเจดีย์
the ordination hall is finished,
ทำต่อ
the next project is to build a
มีปัญหา
stupa.
อีกทำไมไม่มีบัญชีวัดอันเดียวแล้วเวลาจะสร้างโบสถ์สร้างเจดีย์อะไรก็
So why do the temple team have to separate the money offering to the temple and the
บริหาร
money
การเงินที่ชัดเจน
used to build a stupa? It's just to separate the activities.
เรารู้เลยว่าโบสถ์นี้มีค่าใช้จ่ายเท่าไหร่แล้ว
So the account
ชัดเจน
specifically for stupa building, it will be clear and it will be following the intention of the donation that people really want to donate to build a stupa.
เจตนารมณ์ของผู้บริจาคให้ชัดเจนนะจะไม่ใช้เงินผิดประเภท
The temple team will not use the money across from different accounts to build a stupa. Everything has to be transparent. This is why Wat Suan Sandidham is an exemplar of the temple in Chonburi province. The Ministry of Buddhism praised the temple for having a good system. So this is why the temple is a good example for other temples to follow. So everything has to be transparent.
ทำไมอยู่ๆเปลี่ยนชื่อสร้างโบสถ์ไปเป็นสร้างเจดีย์ทำไมหลวงพ่อไม่ประกาศ
Some may wonder why we have to change the name on the account from building the temple hall to building a stupa because Luang Po is not an abbot. But today they asked Luang Po to make an announcement.
เป็นพวกคอนเซ็นเตอร์หรือเปล่าจะมาหลอก
So you don't have to worry that the QR code may change. There's no, it's not a scammer, but there's a change in the bank account. That is all the announcement. The temple team asked Luang Po to please make an announcement because many of the people are wondering why the accounts have been changed. Luang Po already knew about this from the beginning. Pra Ajahn Ah is the current abbot and also the main person who is taking care of the temple activities. So everything you can check. All the activities, all the transactions are transparent here. Okay, back to Dharma. To practice is not difficult at all. When Luang Po was a lay person and he worked for the government agency, his boss, he was very capable. He was promoted to the secretariat of the defense ministry. His boss saw that Luang Po was really into Dharma practice. So his boss taught Luang Po how to analyze the project. His boss said that when you analyze a project, you have to see if there's a problem and what is your goal. Just like the Buddha taught. He taught about the suffering, knowing the suffering. It's like when you have a project, you survey what you have to find out what is the problems that come with this project and what is the cause of the problems. Like the Buddha said that we have to know the suffering and we have to know the cause of suffering or cause of the problem. And the cause of the suffering is craving. We cannot really fix the problem. We can only fix the cause of the problem. His boss is very smart. So his boss, Luang Po's boss, show how the teaching of the Buddha is the same. It can be applied to work. When you analyze the problems you can see which is the real problem, which is not really a problem. It's just in some problem are not a true problem, but they are more like a fashion. So when you know what are really the problems, then we see what are the causes of the problem, we fix on that. The teaching of the Buddha was the greatest. He said to know the suffering, to truly know the suffering, and then see what is the cause of suffering or samudaya. And the cause of suffering is the craving, is the attachment. And how to fix the problem? To fix the problem is to get rid of the cause. To get rid of the cause of suffering is the path toward the liberation or the Eightfold Path. If you can be liberated from suffering, what would happen? That is the phenomena that is called Nibbana. Is the state that you are free from suffering. So the Buddha already have the way to fix the problem, and it has been followed and been used by scholars for more than 2,000 years. It's called like the Dharma research. Most of the research methodology follow the Buddha's way too. Like how to know the suffering. So the Buddha taught for us to see the suffering that comes with the body, which is the getting older, getting sick, and death. And the cause of the suffering in the mind is that when you part from the thing that you love, when you encounter something that you dislike, the Buddha really go into detail what are the sufferings that come with the body and the mind. You don't have to worry how much suffering that comes with the body and the mind. The Buddha said that in short, in summary, all the five aggregates are suffering. The words of the five aggregates. That's teaching the word is. If you're clinging to the five aggregates, that's why you are suffering. It doesn't mean that you're really clinging to the five aggregates. It means that the five aggregates are the places that the mind can hold on to, grabs onto. So the five aggregates that we have, by the physical form, the feeling, the mental formation, the perception, and consciousness, they are suffering. That's another type of aggregate. There are two types of aggregate. The five aggregates that we can cling to, and there's another type of aggregate that is the supermandated aggregate. Although it's aggregate, but it is free. It is free from the defilement. It is free from attachment. those arahant or the enlightened ones, they still have that aggregate, but that aggregate is free from attachment. Like arahant, the living arahant, they still have the aggregate, but those aggregate are no longer a base for the mind to grasp onto. So they're still living in the world until one day the aggregates that make them a human, it is time for that aggregate to break apart. That's when they are entering Nibbana. The mind is, even they are at arahant, their mind is already free from the aggregates, but the aggregates are still there. This is why it is called that is after when they are enlightened. And when all the aggregates, when there's time that all the aggregates have to break apart. So there's no more aggregate for arahant. So there are two types of aggregates. One type is that it's like the five aggregate that the mind can still grasp onto. And there's another type of aggregate that it is free from attachment. In summary, you don't really have to learn about suffering anywhere else. Like if you have a heartbreak, you don't have to wonder how to get that person back. The Buddha said to learn about the suffering, just learn about the aggregates that we are clinging to. Everyone have that because we are still the beings with the five aggregates. There are beings that have four aggregates. There are some beings that have one aggregate. We are the beings that have five aggregates. The beings that have five aggregates are humans, animals, angels, some of the Brahmas. Those beings who have four aggregates are the Brahmas that do not have physical form. The beings that have one aggregate are the Brahma that only have one aggregate left. Those of you, if you practice so that you are so stressed, so you really pressure yourself. When you're so stressed that the mind cannot take it anymore, the mind stops to work. There's only physical form left. There's no more feeling left. If you die there, there's only one aggregate left, which is only the physical form. Those who can enter the fourth jhana, some attain one aggregate, some still have the five aggregates, but you don't really have to pay attention into that detail that which beings have the four aggregates, which being have the one aggregate. Just pay attention to yourself. Like we have the five aggregates. There is a physical form. Like what you see from the eyes. If you pay attention, what you only see is just colors. Like the artist, they have wondrous talent that they are able to draw even a droplet of water. They are able to extract just water, just color, because they have a very sharp eyes. They are able to separate the colors. Luangpu is apologizing for using a bad word. not a bad word, a non-polite word to call the artist, because he's used to speak that way with his friends. But he means the artist. They have a very sharp eyes. They can extract different colors and able to paint them to look like a real thing, like the droplet of water. So the eyes only see colors. When you see beautiful women, when you see beautiful things, they are just colors, accumulation of colors. Some have a very, the colors make the person look like the shape, that have a very good shape or a large shape. Another physical form is a sound. Sound is actually a physical form. Smell and taste, they are also physical form. And the physical contact is also another physical form. It is tougher. There is a feeling when you touch it. That is because of the earth element. It has a teaching from the ancient Indian in India that the body is moving because there is a wind element inside. When the body digests food, there is a heat inside that is using the fire element within. You can be aware of this by knowing the body. But the water element, you know it with your mind. The water element is not like the water in the bottle. In the Abhidhamma, in the text, the water element means something that sink in. Like the body remain intact together because of the water element. Imagine the dry soil or dry sand. Without water, it would break apart. So you need water to make the sand or the soil hold together. Like you want to build a sand castle. You need water to build a sand castle with the sand. In Abhidhamma, it is for the scholar to learn about. But in the sense for the practitioners, we can learn about the different elements. So we can study, so one day it can be used to cultivate wisdom. For the scholar, they want to study different type of, let's say, water element. Like there's wind inside the stomach, wind inside the intestines. When you have a lot of wind element in your stomach, then you will burp. So there's our elements of earth, water, wind, and fire. But when we learn about the element for the practitioner, we learn to observe them. When the Buddha taught, he taught about the theory for the scholar and also like how to be used to practice. One example, a student of Luangpu Dun, before he ordained, his name was Master Luangpo Kun. When he was a lay person, he met with Luangpu Dun before he ordained. All the people who met with Luangpu Dun asked for the perfect object of meditation to practice with. So Luangpu taught Mr. Kun before he became the Master Kun. Mr. Kun asked, what would be the perfect object of meditation for me to practice? Luangpu said, you should contemplate on one string of hair. And after that, after Mr. Kun ordained and became Master Kun, he did not follow the teaching of Luangpu. He thought that one string of hair, that is nothing. He didn't believe it. He tried and practiced. His mind could not come together. And then after 3 months, he remembered Luangpu teaching. And then he pulled out the string of hair. And then he contemplated on that. And then he saw that at the root of the hair, there was like a oil sebum. He was contemplating the inside, the outside of the hair. When he contemplated on that one string of the hair, then the mind came together and he was able to obtain samadhi. So Master Kun went back to Luangpu and reported his progress. So if you contemplate the physical form based on the teaching, you can contemplate that all these physical forms, they are not us. They are not under our control. They keep changing all the time, and it is suffering. An example, if you contemplate on your hair, like we would feel that our hair is so beautiful, soft, nice and soft. But as soon as that hair fall out, and if it fall on into your soup, you would detest it. You would think that it is disgusting. You would not eat it. When Luangpa was young, there was a shop that sell eel. They make different dishes of eel. It is very, very tasty and very famous. And one day, one person went to this restaurant, and when the person was eating the eel, and that person found a nail inside the eel, so that person threw up. And it turned out that to catch the eel like to stay in the very shallow, muddy water, and it may be that the owner caught the eel in a pond near the cemetery, and the eel may be living inside the coffin with the rotten body. So when our body part is no longer with us, we are disgusted by it. Another example, when you go to a dentist, and when the dentist pull out your teeth, you no longer desire that tooth anymore. You feel that it is something disgusting. You don't want to be near it. You want to throw it away. So you can contemplate on the body, see the truth of the body, that it is just something not desirable. You can use that as the object of meditation. Or you can also observe the body, the skin, and what's inside, and you see that everything is just not permanent. It's like a body bag. That element keeps going in, and elements keep going out. So body is something that is just not desirable and unsubstantial. Or some can contemplate on the elements coming in and out of the body. like if you breathe in the wind in and out, so that the wind element going in and going out of the body. If there's no more element going in and out of the body, then you would die.
ตามนัยยะของพระสูตรพระอรหันต์ส่วนใหญ่ที่ท่านพิจารณากายแล้วได้มรรคผลนิพพานนะ
Those who are enlightened, those arahant who enlightened from contemplating the body, they are observing the body and see that the body fall under the three characteristics.
เป็นอภิธรรมอย่างละเอียดซึ่งพวกเราไม่ได้ยินไม่ได้ฟัง
There's another level of teaching, the one that is more refined, that the Buddha only give this Dhamma talk to the angels.
เทวดาเรื่องนี้นะอาจจะพูดแค่หัวข้อย่อๆพระสารีบุตรได้รับอภิธรรมอย่างย่อที่สุดมานะก็มาขยายความอีกหน่อย
The Buddha, sometimes after he taught the angel, he would tell Sariputta, his main disciple, about what he taught the angel before.
ไม่ได้เรียนอภิธรรมนะทำไมท่านทำได้อนาถปิณฑิกะเศรษฐีไม่เคยรู้เรื่องขันธ์ห้าทำไมท่านเป็นพระโสดา
A lot of Buddha students, they never heard about the theory before, but they are still able to attain enlightenment. Like the first 5 disciples, they never heard about the Abhidhamma, like the theory of the Dhamma, but they are still able to enlighten.
นิมนต์พระสารีบุตรมาพระสารีบุตรสอนเรื่องขันธ์ห้าอนาถปิณฑิกะฟังแล้วร้องไห้เลยนะแล้วบอกว่าทำไมพระคุณเจ้าไม่สอนธรรมะอันนี้ให้ผมตั้งแต่แรก
There was a rich man in the city. He make a lot of support to the Buddha, to the Sangha, to a lot of that. And before he passed away, he was ready to listen to the Abhidhamma. So Sariputta, the Buddha's left hand, the disciple, taught this rich man about the 5 aggregates, to contemplate on the 5 aggregates, that the body is dying, and to see the mind that is worrying, the mental formation, the mind is worried about death, and the feelings was unhappy. At that time, the rich man was ready to receive the teaching of the 5 aggregates. But before that, that rich man was not ready. He only want to make a lot of offering, make a lot of merits. So after that, Sariputta said that the 5 aggregates can be taught to the lay people too, because some of the lay people, they have not a lot of dust in their eyes per se, that they are able to learn about this as well.
ค่อยๆศึกษาไปนะนี่แค่เรื่องตัวรูปนะตัวเวทนา
Luangpu only teach about mainly just about the physical aggregate, but as I'm foremost of the aggregates, there's feelings, there are perception and interpretation, there are mental formation and the unconsciousness aggregate. About the feeling, there's this feeling of the body, the feeling that and the feeling that arises with the mind, that is happy, unhappy, and neutral. You can easily observe that. You don't have to know in detail. Just plainly know if the body or the mind is happy or unhappy or neutral. Observe whatever you can. Vedana, or the feeling that you can observe with the body. Usually, it is more suitable for people who have a lot of samadhi. For especially those who can attain jhana, you can observe the feeling that come with the body. But for those who do not have a lot of mental strength, it is more recommended that you observe the feeling that arises with the mind. Because the feeling that arises with the body, it is very difficult for those who do not have a lot of samadhi, not a lot of mental strength. But to observe the feeling arise with the mind is not difficult. Those who do not have a lot of samadhi can feel that too. You can feel that now if the mind is happy or unhappy or neutral. You just have to, when the mind is become a stable observer, you can see right away if the mind is happy, unhappy, or neutral. You can observe from when the feeling is in the more coarse states or in more refined. Like another example, when we don't have a lot of samadhi, you can observe things that is more apparent to us. Like for example, like you don't have to enter jhana to be able to know that this body is breathing in, breathing out. But for those who can enter jhana and have a lot of samadhi, they can observe the elements that come with this physical form. So in the text, there are details about how much you can contemplate with. It is not necessary to enter jhana to practice. Like if you cannot enter jhana, you can be aware that right now the body is sitting, walking, standing, laying down. But we also have to practice that the mind is not busy. To have the mind that is stable is to practice by knowing when the mind wander off from the object of meditation. For example, when Luang Pa used breathing in, say put, breathing out, say to, when the mind wander off from his object meditation, he would know so. When Luang Pa first started to practice, sometimes the mind wander off for like the whole hours before he was aware. But the more he practiced on this, he become more skilled. The mind recognized the state when the mind was wander off. So as soon as the mind wander off, the mind recognized it, and it is aware that the mind was just wander off. You don't have to know all the time. Just keep knowing often. Keep knowing regularly. For example, when Luang Pa first started to practice, at first when Luang Pa was aware only after when the mind wandered off for a long time. But the more Luang Pa practiced, when the mind just shifted, just changed a little bit, he was aware. And then the mind was awakened, brightened, joyful. When you practice, it doesn't matter what you see first. Some say that you have to be aware of the body first. It's not necessary. With vipassana practice, one can use the body, the mind, Vedana or the feeling or the Dhamma to practice vipassana. Luang Pa didn't start from the body. Luang Pa started from the mind, observing the mind. Luang Pa preferred the mind more than the body. Luang Pa feel that the body it was not his cup of tea. So Luang Pu Dun told Luang Pa to observe the mind, to practice vipassana. So Luangpa saw that the mind keeps changing all the time. And especially that he has a temperament of getting angry easily. So he saw that his mind was angry often. So he started to observe when the mind was angry and when it was not angry. And then when he was skillful at that, he started to observe different type of changes in the mind. Like sometimes the mind is so big, expand very big. Sometimes the mind let go of the mind. For most of you listeners, that you might not have to do that right now. You just know that sometimes the mind is with the defilement. Sometimes the mind does not have that defilement. Sometimes the mind is with lust. Sometimes the mind is free from lust. It is difficult to know that you are angry. For example, as you were driving in the road, someone cut you off, and you are angry. Can you know that you were angry when someone cut you off? Most people, they would yell at another driver for cutting them off. Luangpu Dun, that's why Luangpu Dun said, don't send your mind out. Like, most people would swear at the person who cut them off. When you hear any other noise, a different noise, we would pay attention to that noise. We don't pay attention to your own mind. You don't pay attention to yourself. For example, another example, if you smell something strange, something smell bad, and you may be scared of that smell, maybe a rotten body, something died here, or a ghost, or a dead animal, you forgot to pay attention to yourself. You forgot your mind, that your mind is disliking the bad smell. This is why Luangpu Dun said that to practice is not difficult. It's not difficult. It is only difficult for those who do not practice. Because we don't pay attention to ourselves. We usually pay attention outward. Like when you eat delicious thing, you are happy, but you forgot that you are happy eating that delicious thing. So whenever there's a feeling arise, you can pay attention to yourself. You can pay attention if the mind is wholesome, unwholesome, or sometimes the mind is happy, unhappy, or if the mind is neutral. You can just start by knowing when the mind is happy, unhappy, or neutral. So you can start by observing this feeling that arises with the mind. If you have a temperament of getting angry easily, you can also observe the mind that is with anger, the mind is free from anger. Or if you have a lot of greed, you can observe the mind that is with greed, the mind that is free from greed. So you can observe the defilement, you can observe the feeling, observe whatever arises with the mind. That is the mind grabbing on something, clinging on the object. This is what we need to know. This is why this is called knowing the suffering. Knowing the suffering, knowing the aggregates. Knowing the feeling, knowing the perception and interpretation, knowing the mental formation. Is that mental formation sometimes anger, greed, wholesomeness, unwholesomeness? Knowing if the mind is with samadhi or without samadhi. Samadhi can arise with all types of mind. Sometimes it arises with the wholesome mind. Sometimes it arises with the unwholesome mind. You can observe yourself. You can start it by observing what is arising. You can be aware when the mind is happy, unhappy, neutral, knowing when the mind has wandered off, know so when the mind is over-focusing, and know so that the mind, all minds arise and fall, arise and ceases. When you see that, when you see the phenomena, that is having sati. When you see that the phenomena fall under the three characteristics, that is the wisdom. That is cultivating vipassana. If you don't see the three characteristics, that is not vipassana practice. That is not vipassana. A lot of meditation retreats call themselves vipassana courses, but many of the attendees who go to that course do not see the three characteristics. So using the term vipassana would be misleading. And when you cannot have the correct samadhi, that you will really focus on the object, you cannot cultivate wisdom with that. So you also have to have the correct samadhi to be able to see the three characteristics. So how to practice? First, have the object of meditation for you to practice with. Don't pick something that is too complicated, like the Pakiccasamuppada. That is the rise and falls of all things. Even Sotabana or the stream enters, they cannot use that as the object of meditation. Just use anything simple like your body breathing in and out, the body moving and stopping, the body walking, laying down, sitting down. If you are aware of the body, when the mind wander off from the body, if you are aware of that, that is already practice. When the mind see that the mind was wander off, then sati would arise. Then the samma samadhi, correct samadhi, would also arise. The mind that wander off to think would cease. And then another mind that is with the correct sati, correct samadhi would arise right away. This is why the four foundation of mindfulness, the first step of practice, the four foundation of mindfulness is to have the correct sati or the correct mindfulness. When you can attain the correct sati, then you can attain the correct samadhi. And with the correct samadhi, you can have the mind that is a stable observer, and you can use that to cultivate wisdom. When the mind is a stable observer, you will see that the five aggregates are separated. Like the physical form, the feeling, the perception and interpretation, the mental formation, and the consciousness, they are separated and they are subject to the three characteristics. When you see that, it does not come from thinking, but for those who cannot see it right away, you can start by contemplating on that these five aggregates are subjected to the three characteristics. For example, you know the body all day long, and it doesn't see the three characteristics. You can contemplate that this body is kind of like the robot. It is not us. So we are training the mind to have the right perception and interpretation. So when the true wisdom arises without any intention, without any trying, the mind will see it for itself, that this body is not us. That is the true wisdom. that is the true vipassana. Is this true wisdom can really eradicate the defilement. But if it still come from thinking, it's not really vipassana. Those who have done it before, when the mind see this phenomena, the right perception would arise. That is all the Dharma talk for today. Today is packed with a lot of information. Your mind would be exhausted hearing too much information. Normal minds can only focus on information for 40 minutes. Any longer than that, the mind cannot accept. And if you don't understand it right now, it is okay. It is normal. So now homework reviewing time. Number 1. In formal practice, I practice with walking meditation together with reciting mantra for about 3 hours a day. In daily life, I can see that the mind is anxious. It is attached to the happiness and often thinks that I am better than others. I continue to suffer because of my body. In my practice, I often think that I'm doing well, but I'm unknowingly fall prey to the defilement and cannot see them. When I am tired, the mind often falls back into the attachment to sensual pleasure. Please tell me what to do next. What you are doing is good, Luangpu replied, that you can see the defilement. That is very good. To become a wise person is that wise persons see the flaw of themselves so they can progress, they can develop more. And later on, your mind will develop even further. So keep practicing. It's very good that you practice regularly, very diligently. Number 2. My mind is greedy and wants to become good. Sometimes I am aware, sometimes I'm not. When the mind is stable, I can see phenomena arise and cease at the ear. I can see that the mind moves to allow sound when it occurs. When the mind is not stable, it unconsciously starts focusing. I thought I could recognize the state which the mind is not within itself. In formal practice, I practice by doing walking meditation for 3 hours a day. I observe the body as my main meditation object. Please tell me what to do next. You're practicing correctly. You use the body first as the object meditation to observe the mind. You practice very well. Keep practicing. When you see the phenomena, for example, you see the agitation in the middle of your chest area, like when you see someone that you don't like, you will see the agitation. For this person, for number 2 only, your mind moves toward this agitation. The mind is not a knower, so the mind falls to the agitation. Notice that the mind is sinking to the agitation. You don't have to pull the mind back out. Just know so, and the mind will become stable on its own. Number 3 is also good too. Number 3. Then, if you practice, it's good. If you don't practice, it's not good. Number 3 is also good. Number 3, I feel that I tend to be absorbed in thoughts. For example, repeatedly thinking about things that cause this distress, or thinking and murmuring inward throughout the day. It seems that the mind is rarely still. I find that it is difficult to develop samadhi. At the present, I'm trying to do formal practice using the body for at least 2 hours a day. Please tell me what to do next. Luangpu replied that you don't have enough samadhi yet, but it's good that you use the body as the object of meditation. Know so when the body moves, then your sati will improve. the samadhi will improve. It's good. That what you are doing is good. Number 4. For formal practice, I chant and do the walking meditation, sitting meditation, and use Buddha as my mantra. I listen to Luang Pa's previous Dharma talks and practice accordingly. During the day, I observe the body and the mind. When the mind is restless, I know and return to the meditation object. I think I can see the three characteristics more clearly and more often. The mind has more equanimity, less attachment. It feels more ease and lighter when I practice. Please tell me what to do next. It's good. One thing, number 4, you need to adjust. You are used to pull up the mind, kind of like what Luang Po is displaying. You are uplifting the mind up too high. Can you tell that you are lifting the mind up just like that? That you try to separate the mind from the phenomena. You are already fabricating the mind to be up. Let the mind be natural, be ordinary, and then the mind will be in the ordinary level, normal level. But if you intentionally lift up the mind, that is fabricating the mind. Then push it up. It's not a bad thing, but if you have a habit of pushing the mind up, that is the Brahma state. Let the mind be normal, be human, a normal human. Be aware, just like that. Be aware of the body as the body breathes in and breathes out. Be aware of the body breathing out with the ordinary mind, with the normal mind, without pushing it up. You have a habit of pushing the mind up. Come back down. Don't waste your time being a Brahma up there. Think of your belly button. Don't push the mind up. Be level, like ordinary. And then you will see the phenomena that comes and goes with the mind that is ordinary. Not observing as if your mind as the Brahma. Luang Po tried this before. When Luang Po heard about the word separating aggregates, so Luang Po pushed the mind up and saw the body down there, and then Luang Po realized that that's not the way to do it. That's not the way to push up the mind up and look at the aggregate from above. When you observe, the mind is with the aggregate, but the mind sees that aggregate is not the mind. Number 5, I practice according to Luang Po's teaching by observing the body instead of the mind. I continuously contemplating that the body gradually dying with every breath in and breath out. However, I do not see any progress. Please tell me what to do next. Luang Po replied, yes, what you are doing is good. Your mind has changed a lot from the mind that got stuck in over-focusing. Now your mind is ordinary. Now you can learn by observing the body. See that the body is dying in every breathing in, breathing out. This life is very short. It is unsubstantial. It should not be held on to. What you are doing is good. Your mind has changed tremendously. Before, you didn't feel any suffering because your mind is holding. Your mind was holding. But right now, your mind is awakened, equanimous. You don't have to hurry the process. Keep observing. When you only see death and death, when you observe, right now your mind is sinking, attaching to the object. What you are doing is good. Keep practicing like this. Number 6. I've been practicing according to Luangpu's teaching. Anger arose in the middle of the chest and ceased immediately. Sometimes the mind becomes bright and joyful. At other times the mind arose and ceased. And strangely, I also know what had caused it. While walking, the mind wandered off. A knowing mind then arose and ceased. I thought that I was liberated, that I attained Dharma. But and then I see that the mind become unstable again, and I realize that I'm not attaining anything. Please tell me what to do next. To practice is not aiming to become anything. When you practice, you have to be at the present. You don't have to worry about the future. Right now is not correct because you are holding your mind. Know it as it is without interfering the mind. Know the mind as it is. The minds wander off the thing. Know so that the mind wander off the thing. You don't have to try to stop the mind from thinking. Just know the mind as it is. Comfortably know the mind as it is. Number 6, you are practicing well. You have a very good samadhi. The mind is stable and it is natural. You can practice vipassana, cultivate wisdom to see that everything arises, ceases. See that all the physical phenomena, mental phenomena, they arise and cease. Number 7, I chant and sit and meditate and do the walking meditation for 1 hour or more every day. I maintain awareness and can see that the mind is not self. It thinks on its own. I can see that the mind is angry and sometimes the distracted mind. Sometimes the mind is lost in the world. Sometimes I can see that the body is not self. Am I practicing correctly? Luangpo replied, yes, keep practicing. Number 8. I was determined to attain the stream entry, but my practice became a mess. I make no progress. When I let go of that determination, the practice became loose. Nowadays, I begin anew each day. I determine to keep the precepts and do formal practice every day. Some days, I can see that the body is something separated from me. I can see the happiness and suffering arise in the mind on their own. The thoughts appearing at the distance. Am I seeing this correctly? Luangpo replied, correct. But you have to see more. Keep practicing. That is all the time we have for today. อนุโมทนาค่ะ